Welcome to the March 2024 Las Vegas Real Estate Report. In this video, I'm going to cover the February Las Vegas area housing stats, talk a little bit about what's going on in 2024 from a national housing perspective. When will interest rates come down? Let's talk a little bit about more today. When is that going to happen? I hope it's going to happen. We all hope it's going to happen, but to me, it looks like it's going to be later in the year. More on that in a moment. And then let's talk about an update on new construction in the Las Vegas area. My name's Jan O'Brien, along with my co-team leader, Cosmo Morabbi. You can find us online here at YouTube. If you are seeing this video, make sure you subscribe. We're also on TikTok and Instagram. We have a team of amazing, experienced real estate professionals covering all parts of the valley. Make sure you reach out to whoever might have sent this video to you. We're here for all your Las Vegas area real estate needs. All right, let's jump right in. Let's talk about what happened in February, as this is the end of March as I record this. We're always talking about the previous month's statistics. Big news is the median sales price for single-family homes went up to $460,000. It was $445,000 the previous month in January. And then for the last 5 months of 2023, it was right around $450,000. So we saw an increase in the sales price. Why did we see that? Well, what we're starting to see is more people actually come into the market. We're moving into the spring season. We are seeing a little uptick in pending sales, but the big story really is there's still not enough available inventory. So 460,000 was actually up 8% year over year for single family homes. We sold 1,896 single family homes. That was up 10% year over year. New listings for the last 2 months have been a little bit higher year over year, about almost 13%, 2,533 new listings came onto the market. Still not enough to really increase the ability for people to have more houses to choose from. And at the end of February, down 25% year over year, there were only 3,471 single family homes to choose from. Here's the numbers for condos. In this report, I generally just touch on single family residences. Cash sales ticked up just a bit. They've generally been for the last couple of years between 25 and now almost 30% for the month of February of the total number of homes that sold in February. Almost 30% of them were cash. Distress sales, for all of you thinking that that's increasing, it's been right around 1 to 1.6% for the past couple of years. So that just means 1.6% of all the sales in February were either a foreclosure sale or perhaps a short sale. This chart just shows a couple other things. I like to just compare. We're going to look at the median sales price right here. So 460 was what it was in February. I just wanted to show you that is up 3.4% from the previous month in January, and again, up 8%. So the issue continues to be sellers don't really want to put their homes on the market when they have a really sub-4 interest rate, and we're going to get to mortgage interest rates. We're starting to see a little pickup in people who are really ready to get out and buy properties, and some of them are ready and they're jumping in, but we still are having a lower inventory, which is why the prices ticked up a bit. All right, let's take a look at this on a bigger scale. So I like to show, this is a rolling all of 2023 and the first 2 months, just to give things perspective. So if we stick with single family, median sales price was $425,000 in January of 2023. You can see that we got up to about this $450,000, and this is what I was referring to. It's sort of hovered right at $450,000 from July all the way to December. Slight thousand off here or there, but right around $450,000. It dipped down in January to $445,000, and here we are at $460,000. I like to look at median, not average. Median simply means 50% are higher and 50% are lower than that number of $460,000, where averages can really be skewed based on a couple very, very high sales or low sales and so forth. Let's look at the solds. This is what's closed and sold. And you can see that January back there, we went from 1325. We got up into the 2000s in the middle of last year. Then it started to taper off as interest rates stayed high. We ended the year at 1518 sales, a dip down in January. Now we're up a little bit in February. We're going to watch and see where that goes and trends as we do this report month to month. Availability is the big issue. which is a correlation of the amount of listings coming on, what ultimately goes under contract, and then sell, which this is the solds are always going to be 45 to 60 days previous they went under contract, and the availability. So you can see that we went up, at the end of last year, except for December, we were in the 4,000s of available homes for sale at the end of that given period. And now you can see that we're actually down a little bit here. All right, let's talk about mortgage rates. So this just historically shows from 2023 where the rates went, all right, and how it kind of got down a little bit in the below the sixes, the high sixes, and then we dipped back up. So we had a little bit of a rate dip, and now we're hovering right around 7%, 6.91 as I record this today for a conventional loan without any discount points. What do the economists and what is the Fed saying? Well, if you follow Jerome Powell and the Fed, what they're doing is really watching inflation. And so at the beginning of the year, at the end of last year, at the beginning of this year, people were thinking 5 to 6 rate cuts. Now they're saying maybe 3 in the short-term interest rate. But it's all about inflation, folks. And so the Fed is not liking that they're seeing still positive signs in the economy about jobs reports being good. Inflation, we're all resilient. We're still out there buying things, even though things are high. So we haven't seen consistency in month after month of the inflation ticking down. It's not ticking up too much. It just depends on which indicator that you're looking at. But the bottom line is we all feel we're not going to see the rates come down until we see consistent month after month getting closer to the 2% that they want in the inflation rate, right? And all the other indicators and all the other reports that can influence what happens to that Fed funds rate, which then flows over to what happens with the bond market, which then impacts mortgage rates. Bottom line, we believe that the interest rate, as inflation comes down and the Fed is able to start lowering rates, which I don't think is going to happen until June or July at this point. And I think many economists and experts out there are saying the same thing. Mortgage rates should go down too, okay? So the best advice that we always give people is if you're in a position to be able to buy today, and you can find that out by reaching out to myself, Cosmo, any member of our team, so we can do a consultation and a strategy session with you to help you understand what's happening in the market. Where can we negotiate? Where could we potentially get an interest rate reduction, maybe with new homes, or depending with certain sellers, getting some concessions? Because if you can afford to buy a home right now, it might be a good time to do it if it works for you. If not, I'll talk about that in a moment. I think it's just going to get a little bit worse and a little bit tighter because more people are going to jump in when the rates come down. So that's what this economist from First American Title is saying. If it aligns with your goals, it might be a good time to get in to a deal right now and then refinance later if that's for you. All right, what's going to continue to happen in 2024? I just want to talk about 3 things. I say it every month for several months. In 2024, home buyers can eventually expect lower mortgages, a lower mortgage interest rate. And I think that we're going to see the low 6s, hopefully. I don't think we're going to go below 6 in 2024. I just don't see it. But we're hovering close to 7 right now and down to about 6.5 or 6.6 or so for FHA and VA. But I do believe that we're going to eventually have lower mortgage rates, which is going to do 2 things. Create more competition because more people are going to jump back into the market because they've been patiently, now I would say impatiently waiting. A lot of pent-up demand, and sellers who maybe love their mortgage rate, but they're not in love with their home anymore. Those folks hopefully will jump back into the market to provide more inventory, and that's what we're going to have to see. But the bottom line is lower rates are going to definitely increase demand for more homes. And if we don't have enough homes from resale homes, from sellers putting their homes on the market, and builders, going to talk about that moment next here, what's happening with the builders, we're going to see higher home prices. Okay, so bottom line, that's what the experts are saying. Their original forecast later in the last year, from November of last year, this is what they thought home prices would appreciate to nationwide. Now you can see that they've basically all moved up. Why? Because of this issue. Low inventory now, interest rates come down, demand goes up, home prices will go up. I just don't think there'll be enough inventory to handle the demand that will be there. So what are the buyer opportunities? They can, on the resale side right now, as I mentioned, if you are in the market, reach out to us for a strategy session so we can talk about, like, instead of focusing on the interest rate, let's focus on what your payment's going to be and what we might be able to do depending on where you're buying to get that rate down. That's the key conversation to have. But the inventory is low. Multiple offers. We see multiple offers on properties on the resale market that are in great shape, pristine shape, updated, renovated. A home that's 20, 30 years old has been updated to today's standards. That's what everybody wants. Those sell quickly, and they sell sometimes with multiple offers. There are opportunities. There are a lot of properties of that 3,400 or so that are on the market that need updating. So if you're a kind of person, you might be able, that is okay with going in and doing some renovation, there are some opportunities out there. Again, can't say it enough. More competition when interest rates come down, more people jumping back into the market, expect more multiple offers, see that it's going to shift even more to the sellers being in control, less concessions and higher prices. What's happening with new builds? Well, builders are definitely controlling their releases and the inventory for the most part. Many of them are going to a spec home model, meaning they choose what's going into it. There's only a few builders in town where you can buy a lot and, 6 to 8 months later, it will be built out and you can choose your selections. We can talk to you about that if you're interested, but many of them have moved to a spec model where they build them, they release them a few at a time, which creates a pent-up demand, a waiting list scenario, and that sense of missing out, FOMO. So we're seeing a little of that, which allows them to control the inventory, which then controls the pricing. If they continue to have the demand. And what we're seeing, and when we're out in the field and we're talking to the on-site sales agents, January was a little slower. February and now into March, they're definitely seeing, and we're seeing it out there in the marketplace at the new homes. A lot of people are out looking. That spring season is starting early here. People are out looking, and the builders are still offering incentives, but we're starting to see some of these incentives change. And honestly, the bottom line, folks, is the builders, the main builders are all publicly traded. They're going to do what is best for their bottom line and their stock prices. And that is going to go with supply and demand economics. If the interest rates come down, they know more people will be coming out. And when that does happen, they won't have to offer the lower rates that they're offering right now. You can get into a new home in many places for 5.5% fixed. There's still 2-1 buy downs. Some of them are still offering to pay for closing costs. But as time goes by and the market shifts and the interest rates come down, you're going to see less and less opportunities with new homes when it comes to incentives and special financing. In fact, this is the new builder sentiment. I wanted to point it out. The buyer demand remains brisk, and this is coming from the National Association of Home Builders chair. And this is for March. Buyer demand remains brisk, and we expect more consumers to jump off the sidelines. That's what I've been saying here on the channel for months, when certain things happen, when the rates come down. When the rates come down, but people are doing this already because they're tired of waiting. They're already seeing it. It's not in droves, but there's definitely more activity. Jumping into the marketplace, if mortgage rates continue to fall later this year, they're anticipating more. So they're feeling more positive. This chart kind of shows for the last 6 months, this is the first time that they're over the 50% mark, which means more builders are feeling positive about making more sales. Okay, so very important. So what about if you're thinking of selling? Well, honestly, it just depends on what your goals are. You can certainly wait until interest rates decrease and the buyer demand increases, where you might have more competition. The challenge for you is going to be if you're waiting for that magical moment to happen where the rates come down. Folks, they're not going down to the 4% or 5% anytime soon. We're going to be looking at 6s, okay? Maybe if we're lucky in a year or two, below 6. Just depends on what's going on in the world and the economy and so on. So this is the new reality. We're going to be in the 6s, okay? For a while, I think, maybe the high 5s. So if you've been in your head about, well, we're not going back to 3.25 or 3.75, again, unless there's some horrible major worldwide catastrophe, which happened last time during the pandemic and so forth, to cause the rates to go down that low, to get everything stimulated, which has gotten us into the space that we're in now, trying to recover from all of that. Okay. So If you are going to wait because you want a better interest rate, then you're just going to be in a good situation hat on as a seller. Take seller hat off, put buyer hat on. Now you're competing with everyone else. So that just depends on your situation. Again, calls for a strategy session so we can talk about pros, cons, crunch nets with you and get a sense of that to get your bottom line. If your home's updated, as I just mentioned, for the buyer side, and it's well maintained, then it's going to be competitive right now, and obviously moving forward if you wait. So it's all about what your goals are. All right, we're happy to have that conversation with you. Again, reach out. We'd love to do a consultation, a personal consultation, a strategy session, because everybody's needs are different. We're here to support those needs throughout the Valley. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channels to keep up with what's going on a weekly and daily basis. We provide a lot of content out on Instagram and TikTok about what's happening in the areas, different places to live, and so forth. And until next time, make it a great day, and we will see you in April.